Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is Transfers Live. Joining me, as always, is Mr. Joe Smith. Oh, hang on a minute. It's not Mr. Joe Smith,
not
is it?
Today,
it's
no,
Mr.
it's
Adam
not.
Ashton.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to do my best Joe impression, though.
Go on.
Well, I just in his
Well, you're too small for
personality.
starters. Your hair's too short, so you failed at the first two hurdles.
He has got
and
longer
you dressed
hair,
normally.
longer beard.
So
longer.
Just absolutely flopped there in replacing Joe. Joe's a bit poorly sick. Yeah, he wasn't well. He was here before for Sloppy Joe's, and then he decided he couldn't be bothered with Stretford Paddock. So I'm going to fuck off home and apart on the channel. So what are you losers going to do about it, is what he said.
Was it something he ate on Sloppy Joe's?
I don't know. Producer Ethan did the most generous, sympathetic thing I've ever seen, right? When I told him that Joe was ill, he looked genuinely shocked and he went, I hope he's not at something I've at. Just made it all about himself. But producer Ethan's all right. He's laughing over there. Adam is here. Make sure you get involved in the chat and the comments, and we wish Joe a speedy recovery. It was only coming out of one end, though, so he should be all right.
Right, that
was the last update I had from him. We're going to be talking... I can't do it, Adam. I can't talk about Sheikh Jassim anymore, man.
I thought we'd heard the last of him.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. The amount of times I had to look at this AI-generated fucking picture.
And the problem is there's only like 2 photographs of him anyway, so it's...
Do you know what I mean? I remember when we first had this discussion in the office, it was like, lads, why are we using one picture of Sheikh Jassim all the fucking time? And they were like, that's the only picture of him. I'm like, do I have to do everything myself? There's obviously more pictures of Sheikh Jassim. There obviously isn't.
Right, so Ethan wasn't lying.
No, we had to wait for about 6 months until The Athletic did an article on him and managed to find another picture of him, which, if you noticed, that was the picture we started using for the next 6 months.
Yeah.
But there's a big story doing the rounds about whether he had the money or not. Ben Jacobs has been all over it. James Duck has been all over it. The Sheikh Jassim's camp are pushing back on it. Lots of PR spin ongoing. We'll get to all that guff in a bit. Make sure you get involved in the comments. Well, so we're going to talk about something that is, I think, the most ridiculous story I've covered in my illustrious career. Yeah?
Is this the Vinicius Junior story?
Yes. It isn't the United getting a new training ground story. It's the Vinicius Junior story. Do you know what? Yeah. I like it. You've not overcooked it. You've not gone Vinicius rumour. You've just done vicious rumour. I like it.
The wait though, because I've been behind the desk today.
Right, go on.
So I've seen what goes on behind the.
You've seen like behind the curtain.
Yeah, and that is probably one of the better ones.
Go on. What else was there? Can you remember?
What was it was vicious. What else did we have?
Go on.
There's some really bad ones for what's to come.
That was the 8th draft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is one of the better ones of the ones that you're going to see.
Yeah, I like it. It's good. It's decent. It does the job. I get it. Yeah. Adam, if you'll do the honours and read this smorgasbord of words.
Yeah, Man United plot 130 million Vinicius Junior transfer swoop with Real Madrid to fund Kylian Mbappe deal. So Kylian Mbappe has long been linked with a move to Madrid and could sign on a free transfer from PSG in the summer. Although he would arrive on an eye-watering 600 grand a week wage as a result. Sport reports that Los Blancos may consider the unthinkable and sell Vinicius should an adequate offer arrive. That could come from United, who from the summer will be backed by British billionaire Sir Jim Ratcliffe Ineos Group after his investment gets ratified by the Premier League, and they're thought to be willing to fork out 130 million for the Brazilian.
Right, there's some slight flaws in this story, right? And I'm going to go through them one by one. Okay. Yeah? For starters, we're not plotting any move. That's nonsense.
Yeah.
Secondly, we're not going to spend £130 million on any player, let alone someone who we're not going to get anyway. Thirdly, Vinicius Junior isn't going to leave a club that regularly challenges for Champions Leagues and wins titles and wins trophies to come for a club that's currently sat 7th in the Premier League. Are we 7th or 8th? I forget. Yeah, so that's not happening. Also, the whole point of this Sir Jim Ratcliffe Ineos takeover is we're going to do things differently now. We're not going to spend mega bucks and mega money on one player. We're going to be spending money a little bit better. So spend £130 million on one player, breaking our transfer record, breaking the British transfer record, makes zero fucking sense whatsoever. Also, last time I checked, Vinicius Junior, how did he get on in his last game for Real Madrid? Does anyone know? Thank you. I'm glad someone pays attention to fucking football. Yeah, he scored a hat-trick. And he is arguably their best player. I know some may say it's Jude Bellingham now, but he's mint. They will happily keep him and Mbappe in the same team. They'll make it work somehow. It isn't going to be one or the other. So this whole story is a complete load of fucking bollocks. And I'll put my neck on the line and say that.
Well, if you have just scored a hat-trick for Real Madrid, the next step is to go
so you look at the fixtures list and you go, who've Real Madrid got? Oh, fucking hell, we're going to play Barcelona. Oh, we're going to play Atletico. Who've United got? Oh, they're away at Newport soon. Fucking get me in there.
Step up.
Let's get in there.
How many would score in that game?
Yeah, if I can score 3 in La Liga, I can score 20 in fucking...
Exactly, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
Stat padding.
It's so ridiculous. I don't know where to begin. It's just... It's kind of done whatever goal Brazil wanted to do, though, because they've got engagement, they've got clicks, they've got all that good stuff. It's just a load of nonsense. So much nonsense that we didn't even put it on the thumbnail because we couldn't even go down the route of this is nonsense, but, you know, we'll talk about it. It was too bad. Let's have a look what everyone's saying. Mr. Fluffy Bag says, can we get a close-up of Jay's head? Very nice. Daniel Berry said, scored a hat-trick. See, Daniel Berry knows. Shane Considine says, some upgrade on Anthony. Alex Bailey says, wow, Jay is dropping F-bombs a lot tonight. Never swears this much. You need a hug, Jay. I'm just missing Joe. Ross Murphy says, never heard Jay say bollocks. David Harrington, I like this, says, so you're telling me there's a chance, Jay. I like that. Hey, 1 in a million and all that.
Well, you never know. If Woodward was still in charge, maybe there's a chance that we'd get him. You see, it's a very Woodward style signing. It
is. You make a good point. I think if Woodward was still in charge, we'd chase after him all summer and not get him.
Yeah,
that's how we'd do it.
Oh yeah,
and we'd waste all summer trying to get him, and we'd get to a point where you might even think this could happen, and then he wouldn't come, and we wouldn't have signed anyone.
What would you prefer? Would you prefer the chase? Or would you prefer to actually have him? Oh. It's the chase, isn't it? You want to think that we're going to get something. Yeah. And then when we've got him, we've got Sancho now, and look how that worked out.
That's what I love. The chase.
The chase for Sancho was better than having Sancho himself, wasn't it?
The chase is what I live for. All them convictions for stalking has not put me off. I love the chase. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? No policeman's going to tell me otherwise. Yeah, it's all about the chase. Anyway, enough of my criminal activity. Joshua Bowater, let's get his name right, says, imagine the Glazers get arrested for lying in the SEC statement and Sir Jimbo gets to buy the rest of their shares. Stuff of dreams. You never know. Should we talk about this then?
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Not a Qatar hero.
Oh, this was actually my favourite one, actually.
Yeah.
This was the best one, I think.
Yeah? Who's responsible for this? Ethan? Yeah, I like it. Not a Qatar hero.
That was my
Oh, hang on a minute. There's some arguing on the production desk. Who was it? Who was responsible for this? Was it Ethan or was it Ollie?
It was Ethan.
Well done. Do you know what I love about these two as well? When it's a when it's a good pun, they try and distribute the sort of responsibility. Yeah. They say, well, Ethan came up with it, but I helped him. I come up with half of it, and he come up with the other bit.
I've been seeing that all day.
They're like Morecambe and Wise.
Although if they'd have put one of the earlier ones, which was, I probably won't say because it was probably slightly on the racist side.
Oh, so there's been racism going on. Yeah. That's great. So there's been a nice bit of racism going on when I've not been down here. That's lovely to know. I'm glad we're discussing this on a live video as well. Fantastic. Wonderful, and we'll just have the disciplinary as soon as this live ends, just so we're all clear on that. Right, anyway, Adam, after throwing your colleagues well and truly under the bus, do you want to read this out for us?
Right, so Ben Jacobs has posted an update on the failed bid from Sheikh Jassim for Man United. So he's posted on Twitter or X. Fascinating and juicy detail, which that caught me straight away.
It's a good intro.
Yeah.
Juicy details. Yes, absolutely. Count me in.
Revealed the Man United process. Bidder Sheikh Jassim formally withdrew on the October the 15th, 2023. Qatar bid consistently failed to provide customary financing commitment letters throughout, and there is no mention of pledged investments. Several sources close to the sale had said repeatedly that the reality of the Qatar offer did not match the PRSEC filings. Stressed the board made it clear equal per share consideration for A and B shares was necessary, and the Qatar bid failed to do this. Representatives of Man United continue to inform bidder A, Sheikh Jassim, that the board of directors was not prepared to move forward with the transaction.
We've stitched you right up his first time on this, and we've given him an absolute dissertation.
Did you see how
to read out?
my tone went down then because it was the end of the paragraph.
Right, do you know what? Fuck all that noise. I'm sorry, we have to put you through that. If you want to read that, then it's available online. Just make sure you've got a spare afternoon. The short and long of it is they're saying with the SEC filings, when you read through it, he didn't have the dough, or he didn't have the money. He couldn't prove that he had the money, or he didn't prove that he had the money to spend what he was promising to spend, or what his PR team were putting out there, that he was going to build a stadium the size of Salford, and he was going to buy Mbappe and Vinicius Junior and everyone else who you'd like to see at Old Trafford. And I think Kingsley Coman was another one, wasn't it? And it was going to be wonderful, and it was going to be free to get into the game, and everything was going to be magical, and pies were going to be nothing as well, and he was going to give everyone 20 quid, and it was just going to be ace. Like, I get it, right? We got to a point where after 18 years of Glazers, we'd all had enough. And then someone tells you someone's going to come in and they're going to build a new stadium, they're going to buy the players you want, they're going to do all the things you'd like to see as a football fan, all the things you see that mob down the road doing, we're going to do it, and we're going to do it a bit better. I get the idea that people would buy into that. I understand it. I'm a football fan and I want to see my club competing at the very top. And if someone tells you they're going to do that, you think, oh yeah, I'll have a bit of that. The problem was, it always felt a bit weird for me. Sports washing isn't something I've been fond of, and I took a lot of pellets for saying that at the time. I didn't want to be state-owned, nothing against Qatar, but Sheikh Jassim's bid very much felt like it was backed by the Qatari government, hence the reason he had all this dough. Didn't want that. I've criticised City, PSG and Newcastle for being the same thing. And also, there was slight flaws in it. I thought, well, you know what? Is he going to do all these things? Is he going to, where's the sort of the evidence to support this? It just seems like you're hearing it, not from him, let's not forget, because all we had from him was some AI-generated pictures. It was just these stories coming out of certain publications that seems to be quite pro his bid, where other publications, which seems to be more on the Ratcliffe side, were saying contradictory things. So it felt very, very confusing. And then you had these points, didn't you, where you had, I think Rio at one point said that it was going to happen that day. You had Cave Solikol saying he's going to do all these wonderful things. I think Custis was saying that next week he's going to buy the club, and obviously none of that materialised.
Yeah, there was always little doubts as well, wasn't there, throughout all the stories. And like you said before any mention of Sheikh Jassim and Jim Ratcliffe got put on the table as a potential investor, everybody was up for Jim Ratcliffe. But then as soon as somebody comes along with much more money, then the attention turns to them. Most people were just like, oh, well, he's got more money, that's better for Manchester United. But that's not necessarily the case, is it? As you've seen, City in the early stages throwing money at things didn't necessarily work straight away, did it?
No.
It comes down to who's going to run the club better. And the signs that I've seen from Jim Ratcliffe now, recently, I'm more positive about than I would have been with Sheikh Jassim.
I think it's quite telling. I think you make a great point, because I was more keener on Sir Jim Ratcliffe than I was on the Sheikh Jassim bid, for a multitude of reasons, mainly the sports washing thing, and that just turned me off massively. But when you look at it, Sir Jim Ratcliffe came to the club, didn't he, for the meetings. We saw all sort of pictures of him at Old Trafford, meeting with the representatives, going on the tour. I heard from people that I know at work at the club say they showed him around the stadium. He was very keen. He was chatting about when he comes to the games and all the rest of it. Talking about the trophies that we'd won. Very sort of switched on as a United fan. Sheikh Jassim didn't come to the meeting. His team put out a statement saying he's been to Old Trafford lots of times, but he's going to leave it in the hands of his representatives.
He definitely exists.
Yeah, he definitely exists. Here's a picture of him in a United top, by the way. It's all gravy. Sir Jim Ratcliffe has met with Must. He's met with certain supporters groups. He's met with the fans forum. These are positive moves. Would Sheikh Jassim have done that? I don't know for definite, but it doesn't look likely. There's the very sort of, it'd be quite a step forward for him to not come to the ground, not come to the meetings. There not to be much in the way of publicity around him, and then him to start meeting fans and come meet.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, if he's not, if we've got two pictures of him that whole period,
and
now all of a sudden, he was going to be walking around Old Trafford and shaking hands with the staff and stuff. That didn't see. And we can only go off what we've seen from Jim Ratcliffe so far, and I think that's better for United, I think, personally.
Yeah, I do. And I think, I don't blame people for wanting Qatar. I think there's what saddened me about the whole thing was it became very divisive, and we saw it on the channel, and it was like, if you wanted Sir Jim Ratcliffe, you were racist, or you wanted him because you just only like people from Failsworth, or whatever. If you wanted Qatar, you didn't care about the LGBTQ community, or you know what I mean? It was like, it became horrible. Yeah. Like, whichever side you were on, you were just a shit person, basically. There was no grey area. Yeah. It's like, well, you're either racist or you're homophobic. Those are your two choices. And it's nonsense. I think deep down we all want the same thing for Manchester United. It's just we disagree. Some of us disagree on which is the best way to go. My best friend, who I go to the games with and was in Barcelona with, and I've known him for 30 odd years. He wanted Qatar. Right. He was like, Qatar's the way forward. I didn't. He did. Didn't fall out over it. We just disagreed. You know what I mean? Like, so don't blame anyone for wanting Qatar. I just feel that this all sort of, for me, highlights that a lot of it was maybe bluster, maybe PR spin, and maybe, who knows, maybe if Sir Jim Ratcliffe hadn't come in, maybe there would be a way that Sheikh Jassim, it just feels like there was his PR people, and I don't know how much of it came from him, but PR people were pushing out promises that there's been no proof would have been delivered. Now you might go, of course it would have been delivered because he's got all this money, but what we're seeing is, well, it wasn't backed up with any evidence. That's
quite odd, and this thing that if they would have accepted the offer had it have been what he said it was, and now they're saying that it never met the valuation. It seems quite odd that, and you're saying it doesn't match the PR that he was putting out. The PR was coming out that he was the front runner for it, and he had the money, and all was going to be good.
Do you remember like people saying Ratcliffe needs to just drop out, just face facts, he's lost? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Do the right thing, do the decent thing. If you love United, you'll drop out. You're not even a United fan, you're a Chelsea fan and all this. And it was just like, look, if he's got the money, he'll buy it. If Ratcliffe's got the money, he'll buy it. And Ratcliffe's manoeuvred away to get football in control. I hope to a full takeover eventually. Yeah. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Just to be balanced, though, sort of for the sake of accuracy, because we're very accurate on this channel, there has been another tweet by Ben Jacobs basically saying that Sheikh Jassim's team are pushing back on this. They're saying they want United to clarify that this isn't true, that they did have the money. So there might be some more twists and turns in this tale. One thing I will say, and I said this when it became obvious, or when Sheikh Jassim dropped out, my sort of job now, or my desire now as a fan, not just as a fan, but as part of this channel and with a platform, is, yes, I'll give Sir Jim Ratcliffe a chance. I will. I'll support him, I'll give him a chance, but I will also hold him to account. Just as we'll always hold the oldest to account. I don't want the Glazers at Manchester United, I want them gone. If him coming in eventually leads to that, I'm all for it. If him coming in leads to the football club being successful, a new stadium, the things that we've been calling out for, better training facilities, a team on the pitch that can compete with the likes of City and Liverpool and the likes of Real Madrid and Barcelona, I'm all for it. And he's certainly making the right moves and the right noises so far, and I'll support that and I'll back it, but I want to see it. I want to see it delivered. Because anyone can come in and meet with the fans and say, I'm going to do this, that and the other. But if we're still in 3 years' time kicking around in 7th with a stadium that's leaking in the roof and a training ground that's gone from modern to vintage, I ain't buying your brand, bro. And the Glazers are still collecting dividends, you can F off. So we'll wait and see. I'm going to get in some comments because there's loads of people commenting, and then we'll move on to other things. Kimchi Cracker says, too many people thought Qatar would solve all the problems. MA says, Glazers out ASAP. Scumbags have destroyed our club. Sheikh Jassim, man who definitely exists, says BC Mac. Fair enough. Liam Clark says, the Sheikh's proposed additional investment was going to have to be borrowed at a later date. He refused to get around the legal issues with the Class A shares. His bid was never serious. Jason Castro says, so happy Qatar didn't work or wasn't real. Look at what is happening at Newcastle with their chairman. State ownership is a mess. Up the Paddock. There's a bit of, like, there's obviously issues going on at Newcastle with their, is it the chairman there, Eve, who's been accused of all sorts of heinous things. City are a very successful club, and what's going on there is great, but they've still got these 115 charges hanging over them, so we don't know how that's going to pan out. Also, PSG keep winning the League 1, but in Europe they've not done what they meant they wanted to do. So it's not a given that state ownership is guaranteeing you unbridled success. You don't know, do you? And it has to be sort of, for me, one of the positive things about the Qatar bid, even though I didn't want it, would have been that they probably would have got the right people in place to sort of oversee the football side of things, which lays in them. I presume so. I mean, I know PSG's been a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
I presume, because you look at what City have done and others, I think Newcastle to a certain degree, with Dan Ashworth and others, have got like a structure in place. But you don't know. That was one of the things we go, okay, at least this might, get a, but from what I gather, so Jim Ratcliffe's doing that.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like Jim Ratcliffe, I can only go off what I've heard, and it feels like he's getting the right people in, but people who are motivated by winning things rather than money. Like the Qatar group could have come in and thrown money at people like in the highest in their game, but that might have just been for the money side of it. Yeah. Whether they've got that influence in the football world, I know Jim Ratcliffe's got Nice, so he's got his toe in it a little bit, but it does seem like the people that are coming in are motivated by success.
Yeah,
and I think that's all you need, really. It needs to be driven towards success rather than like the Glazers. I don't think they've got any ambition to be successful at Man United.
No, I agree. I completely agree, bro. I think they just wanted top 4 for the Champions League money, and that was the level of success they wanted. So Jim Ratcliffe said he wants to, he considers the club a community asset. He's not here to make money. I will say this to people: if you doubt Sir Jim Ratcliffe or you think you're not so sure, go and watch a Kieran Maguire interview we did, forgive me, about 2 years ago, where he said, this is before Sir Jim Ratcliffe had bid for United, he said he thinks Sir Jim Ratcliffe will come in for United because he thinks Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who was 69 at the time, he's 71 now, he's thinking about his legacy. He is a United fan, he'll want his legacy to be saving Manchester United. And so far, Kieran Maguire looks like he might have been onto something. Yeah. We will revisit this when the next twist in the tail comes. Also, I've seen some people on Twitter saying this is a ruse for Sheikh Jassim to get him to do an 11th hour bid. Fuck off! It's over. Move on.
Maybe Jassim and Ratcliffe will join forces. And
I can see that being a match made in heaven. Them two, sat round the dinner table deciding whether we're going to buy Mbappe or Vinicius Junior. Paul Mitchell. Ball's move.
I didn't have any part in this.
It's a bit basic, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
It's quite offensive as well too.
Right, you wanted... producer Oliver says he wanted bold move for a bald man. And who overrode you? Ethan called, because he's like the senior member of staff, said, no, not on my watch, sunshine.
Too wordy,
bold move. Yeah? Get involved in the chat in the comments, let us know. I can't decide whether I like this or I don't. Let me know.
We've had pictures of Phil Mitchell. We've had pictures of Peggy Mitchell. All kinds of things.
I'm glad you didn't do that, because you've all just saved your jobs by not doing that. Because if a picture of Phil Mitchell had been on here, the joviality would have stopped and the stream. Go on then, talk us through this.
Yeah, so basically Roma are looking to appoint Paul Mitchell as the next sporting director. Multiple sources in Italy report that Paul Mitchell and Christopher Vivell are in talks with Roma to replace Tiago Pinto from next month. They're not just on the hunt for a new manager after Jose Mourinho's sacking, and the hunt for a new sporting director. They've made contact with Paul Mitchell. I read that as though that was his middle name. I thought it was Paul Gianluca Mitchell.
Paul Mitchell Gianluca Di Masi. What a name. What a legend. Go on,
that's why he's going to Rome.
Yeah, exactly. With a name like that, can you blame him?
So Di Masio's reported that Pinto, set to depart at the end of this month. Giallo-Rossi? Anyway, are already working to hire a new sporting director.
That's another name for Roma.
Yeah. And they're making contacts with some profiles. A meeting has already been held with Paul Mitchell, who has been linked with the Manchester United job in recent months.
Numerous Italian reports. The reason that we're talking about this is because of that last bit. He's been linked with the Manchester United job. Paul Mitchell has been the go-to guy for so many United fans. I think Steve Howson did a video talking about how Paul Mitchell would be the greatest thing to happen to United ever. About 3 years ago, he was saying...
all I know about Paul Mitchell really is through Steve.
Steve's obsessed with him. Steve, we signed Paul Mitchell, that'd be like we bought Cannon.
That's not always good, because Steve
told me Gegenpress.
Yeah. So Ralph Ragnick, I was all in for Ralph Ragnick. Yeah. And then look how that turned out. So maybe this is a good thing.
Because Steve made me feel like the thickest person in the world when we were sat on the brew, and I went, "Who the fuck's Ralph Ragnick?" And he went, You don't know who he is. You don't know the Gegenpress.
Yeah.
Bro, like, get your head together. He's going to change the club. This is what we want. And he was genuinely the worst manager I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Even better. The screen's now gone blank, which, to be honest with you, might be an improvement on some of the things we've seen tonight. Anyway, yes, we go to my thing. Yeah, we're good. We're on it. Hey, we're on it. I'm going to go through some of the comments. Let me know what you think about Paul Mitchell. Apparently, well, not apparently, people do like your puns. Some people saying they like that. Although Nace Afeli says offensive to Jay. Good point. Carl Matthews says we're paying 30 million for Glazer's legal fees. Oh God. Joshua Owen says they've appointed De Rossi as manager. David Ellingsworth says I don't think we're getting Ashworth. No, it doesn't look like that's happening. Modern Samurai says bald move is perfect. Who else? Darren B66 says, he's talking about the legal fees. They have to be paid. Daniel Berry says, City have 3 people. Yeah, he's talking about the structure there. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Paul Mitchell looks like he would have been a good appointment. He might not even end up at Roma, but it seems that there is some concrete interest there. I think the director of football, sporting director's job at United is still up for grabs, and there's a big sort of debate going on as to who's going to get it. Do you have a preference?
Well, like I say, I can only go off what Stephen Allison's told me about him, but it looks like he would have been a good appointment at United. Yeah. I mean, they're saying he's the front runner for Roma. I suppose but things change all the time, don't they? So you never know. It could still be United sporting director. But there was something about the sporting director reporting to what's his name?
Jean-Claude Blanc.
Yeah. So is that? I mean, I don't know. There's still a spot there, isn't there? So I don't know. We'll see.
It feels like they're still getting everything in place.
Yeah.
We don't know who those people are. We don't even know what the full structure is going to be yet. We'll have to wait and see. And also, let's not forget, it's not even been ratified yet. I mean, it should be a formality, but we're still waiting for a lot. So
I'm sick of the word ratified.
Ratified.
I've never heard it before. I'm sure it's
not?
like a Jim Ratcliffe PR team.
He's gone Ratcliffe, ratified.
Yeah, I'm sure
Let's throw that into the mix, yeah. These lot are going to have a fucking field day when that happens on the puns, aren't they? He's done it already. He's already ahead of that one. He just wants it to be ratified so he can press that button and get his pun on the move. I just read move as I was talking. That's how thick I am. Right, let's go on to the next one. Hey, Syria, play for United. Elite. Seriously, that is chef's kiss. I am fully having that one. That is, and it's worked. It's worked.
I'm taking some credit for this.
Oh, here we go. This is where we all had a say
involved in this.
Right, was this a joint effort?
I'm sure I came up with the second half.
We came up with Hey Siri.
All right, so you came up with Hey Syria. Because Hey Siri wouldn't work at all on its own.
Ollie wanted seriously something or other, which didn't work.
Okay, so you managed to get it to work. Hey Syria, play for United. Yeah, or Hey Syria, play for United. Yeah. Brilliant. I'll let you read it.
Ineos have reportedly set their sights on Torino defender Alessandro Buongiorno. Sources close to the situation suggest that Ineos view the Italian as a promising addition to the squad of either Man United or Nice. The 24-year-old has been turning heads with his impressive performances in Serie A, and sources have indicated that a deal can be done for around just €30 million. The comparatively low valuation of the player means he could act as a fill-in at Old Trafford this season, given his ability to play across the defence, including left-back. Last year, Buongiorno, I don't know how you say his name, received his first official call-up to the senior Italian national team football transfers.
Listen, right, there's this kid, Alessandro Buongiorno. There's... what?
That's the correct player now.
Right, so we've just had the wrong player up. See, you're doing so well. You had your best pun ever, and you've absolutely embarrassed Adam by having him read out a story with the wrong player on. And I knew, but I didn't want to throw you under the bus. I knew when I looked at it, that wasn't Alessandro Buongiorno, whoever it might be. I knew that fully. So I'm disappointed, lads. I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. Anyway, There's a load of defenders we keep getting linked with. There's a kid from Atlanta whose name escapes me. Remind me of his name. Anyone? No, doesn't matter. Thanks. No, who's that lad from Atalanta? It's not. I don't want to say his name because I think I might be getting it wrong. Hang on a minute. This is great viewing, isn't it? Giorgio Scalvini, that's it. Right. Giorgio Scalvini, we've been linked with. I think he's he's 20 years old. Obviously, I think he's got about 7 Italy caps. There's this kid. There's Jean-Claire Todibo we keep getting linked with. There seems to be, today we had Delict. Obviously, that's a step up in terms of price and stuff. We're getting linked with a lot of sort of similar age defenders, 20 to 24. I think even Delict, who's been around for years, is only 24. You just don't know, do you? And also, no disrespect to football transfers, but they say we might have him. Doesn't mean we're going to get him, does it? Yeah. I'd file that in the, just one to watch column. I'm not really getting too carried away with that one. Get involved in the comments. Let us know what you think. I don't know a lot about these players, although I do agree. Well, I don't agree, but this is a good point. Joshua Bowater says Branthwaite is better. We've been linked with Jared Branthwaite quite a bit. Everton going through all sorts of troubles again. I think they're facing more fines and punishments and God knows what for breaking FFP, which is insane. They've just had a 10-point reduction. How are they still getting done? What's going on?
Yeah, I've never really felt sorry for a Scouser before, but it's getting to that point where you're a bit like,
Well, Everton are all right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't mind Everton because I always think my enemy's enemy is my friend. Yeah. And they hate Liverpool
my
more than
an
we
Evertonian.
Do. Is it?
So, yeah,
my missus' granddad's an Evertonian.
Yeah. So there's when they're not a direct rival, it's
exactly.
All right,
do you know what I mean? It's not. It's not.
Yeah,
an issue.
but I think it's definitely good that we're looking at this sort of age range for a defender because, I mean, you're looking at Evans and Varane probably not got that long left of the career really, and then Ten Hag definitely doesn't seem to want Maguire because he was up for selling him not that long ago. Yeah, I don't think he fancies Lindelof.
No,
and then we've got what's left Martinez, we've got Kwambala coming up. He's only young, isn't he? So I feel like we seem to have a lot of defenders, but just not. I think in the next few years,
quality's probably not there, is it?
We need to probably start building a proper, solid defence that is the same every week, not the 12th iteration or whatever it is that it is this season. It's
a great point, and I think if you get a 20-year-old or 24-year-old or someone who's decent and who can play it week in, week out, alongside minors, hopefully, then that'd make a lot of sense. So, yeah, we'll keep an eye on it, but I'm not going to get too carried away. Go on, let's move on. What else have you got for us? A madness if we let him go. Yeah?
Do you know what, right? I said before these were bad. I've just got the memories of all the bad ones, I think. Right, they're actually not that bad things.
A madness if we let him go. Yeah, I think it's quite, it's quite safe, but it's solid. Yeah? Yeah, well, we'll say that. It's a bit like Adam Wan-Bissaka. Yeah? It does the job. Right, go on. Talk us through this one then.
So Man United are planning to keep Ahmad beyond the closure of the January transfer window. Diallo has gained a lot of interest from multiple clubs this month, with the loan move to Middlesbrough at the forefront. However, has been reported he will 100% be staying at Manchester United, with all the rumours around the player being false. The Ivory Coast international missed the FA Cup third round win against Wigan through illness and could return to the squad for the fourth round tie at Newport County next week.
It's moving a lot, this, because at one point it looked like he was going to go to Middlesbrough. Yeah. Now it looks like he might not be. I like Diallo, and I think the trouble is, right, every young player at United is good. Yeah. Right? That is just a fact. Yeah, it doesn't matter whether it's Joe Hugill, whether it's Amad Diallo, whether it's Hannibal Mejbri, whether it's Alvaro Fernandez. They're all good players. Yeah. And they're all young, so you go, well, maybe if you stick with him, maybe if you give him a chance, maybe, it's worth, I won't get rid of him. A lot of them aren't good enough. A lot of them won't make it, and you have to move them on. And it's difficult because it's like, well, which ones do you and which ones don't you? Because I think if you went back over like the last 10 years, whatever, there's loads of young players that none of us wanted to see go, who probably did need to move on. There's dozens. Like, there was a time when it was like, you can't let Tahith Chong go, you can't let Angel Gomez go, you can't let, Brandon Williams should be playing every week, Ethan Laird should be playing every week, you can't let Teddy Mengi go. I know it's probably that argument's still probably going on, but it is a constant, James Garner's leaving for Everton, that's a travesty. And yet, you know, Dylan Levitt was another one I heard people say, you can't let Dylan Levitt go. A lot of these players do need to move on, but there are one or two that doesn't. And I think the difference with Diallo is he's not come through the academy. We bought him, and we bought him for a reason. He was, you know, he barely played a professional game, but he was being raved about in Italy.
Yeah.
He's obviously got something about him. Had a very, very good loan spell at Sunderland. I think 13 goals in the Championship for a 20-year-old, whatever it was decent. And he looked live when he came in against Forest.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because you've got these youngsters, and a lot of them are getting thrown. They're either not getting enough game time, or they're getting thrown into the point where it's like, right, you're playing every week now because we haven't got anybody else in that position. Like Ilanga was probably played too much, and then it gets to the point where when he's not producing in the way that us Man United fans would like him to, because he is only a youngster, everyone gets on his back, and then that gets to them and all that kind of stuff. They get all the crap on Twitter and stuff. So it's tough, isn't it? But what I have seen from him is, I do like Ahmad. I think he is a really good player. And he looks like he's done pretty well for Sunderland, doesn't he? And,
yeah.
You know,
it's difficult to know, whether certain players are going to be good enough. But I think he's had quite a career already. You know, went to Rangers, didn't quite work out. I went to Sunderland, much better. Back at United, I'd like to see him being given a chance, and I think there's still room for him and opportunities for him to feature. Palestri, there's talk of him going. I don't know what the latest is with him, but he was like, there's talk of him going on loan. He seems to have plateaued a little bit. He's like on an upward trajectory, and I feel like with Palestri, he maybe needs to kick on a little bit if he's going to make it United. Maybe he needs another loan move, and this is the loan move where he has to do something. I mean, Diallo, I'd personally keep him, but do
you think that there's a place for him ahead of Anthony at some point, or do you think Anthony is just Ten Hag's guy? I
think sooner or later Ten Hag's got to make tough decisions, even if that means dropping the kid you spent 70 million on.
I'm not sure. A lot of people are saying that he'll never drop him, but he has done the last few games, and I think at first it was a case of, I've played all this money for him, I can't drop him. But now I think it's, well, his job depends on it probably in the next 6 months. And he's thought, I'm going to have to drop him. And maybe the likes of Ahmad could take a place from him, and you cut your losses with Anthony then, I don't know.
It was quite telling that Anthony got booed, didn't he, when he came on the other day? And I don't like that. I would never boo. I don't think he deserves to get booed, but especially if you've got Sir Jim Ratcliffe sat in the stands as well. That's not a good look for you as a manager. The player you spent 70 million quid on is getting booed when you bring him on. I mean, I don't know if that has any bearing on Eric Ten Hag's thoughts, but Anthony's got no goals or assists this season. How long can you stick with him? Yeah. And you might have to just bite the bullet and say, look, I got this one wrong, but let's not forget, I didn't choose the fit. I said I wanted him, and they got him for me. And that could be a get out of jail free card. You can even say, look, I said I wanted Anthony. I didn't think he was worth 80 million, but that was the price that United were willing to pay to get him. Get involved in the chat and the comments. What's this going? Sorry. Kim Chicracker says, Garnacho can continue on the right. Twitter Legend says, Ahmad can play as a number 10, as well as right wing. For me, he's extremely creative and a skilled playmaker. I'm going to wrap it up there. I think we had one more story, didn't we? The United are going to build a new training ground on a golf course. There you go. That's the end of that one. Is anything more of a mistake? Is that it? A new training ground? We get a new training ground. Oh, there you go. Sorry. Really? Is this what we're doing? Sticking golf courses on berets on our new part owner's head? What's the pun saying? On course to swing for new ground. Right. That's enough about that anyway. Thanks for that one, lads. After the dizzy heights of the Serie A I play for United, we hit rock bottom with this absolute meme. Anyway, thanks to everyone who got involved in the chat and the comments. Make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. Big thank you to Ads for coming on the channel. Give your page a plug because you make cakes, don't you?
Yeah, so it's Adam Abbey Cakes on Instagram and Twitter.
I'm in trouble now. My mother-in-law makes cakes.
Does she?
And I'm letting you promote a rival company. Do you know what I mean? Don't ever go down Earlham, Liverpool Road with your cakes,
Yeah,
because there'll be hell to pay. Yeah, that's her patch. All right. Big thanks to Adam. Make sure you're checking out all the other videos. Hit subscribe. I'm going to be back outside Old Trafford in the morning. Hope Joe Smith gets well soon, and if he does, he'll be joining me, Adam McCullough, and Stephen Howson on Off the Bar tomorrow, so make sure you check that out as well. That's been Adam, I've been Jay. This has been Transfers Live. Thanks for watching.